So I've been working on this MineColonies pack for a little while now, and what I wanted to go for was being able to advance the colony without having to spend too much time grinding a whole bunch, uh, rather than spending forever getting those flowers to make the dyes or traveling millions of blocks to get that one tree type that you need. I wanted to kind of simplify that whole process a little bit. So that way you could really focus on growing your colony and focus a little less on anything else really. So to start off, there's a few compatibility changes with my pack. So there is Farmer's Delight is able to be used by your chefs in this mod pack. So if we come in here, you have your cook, and then you have your assistant cook somewhere around here. There she is. So your assistant cook can do things with the Farmer's Delight crafting tables that the cooks couldn't originally do on MineColony. So if we come in here, we can go to this Farmer Delight cutting recipes, or we can go to Farmer's Delight cooking recipes, which are recipes that require the pot. If we go over here, we can teach recipes. We can teach them to turn pork into bacon, turn mutton chops into or mutton into mutton chops, and chicken into chicken cutlets and bone meal. And in order for the assistant chef to make those recipes, you have to place down a cutting board inside the kitchen. You can really put it anywhere. I think they'll find it and use it. And you have to give her some kind of knife. The lower level is going to need a flint knife, and then you can work your way up through the tiers after that. I've also got tiny coal in here, so that way sometimes the cook or your smelters will use an entire piece of coal, which can convert 8 items, and they'll use it to cook one thing. So it's kind of a waste of the resource. So I've got it set to where they can only use the tiny versions, and you can also have your blacksmith craft those for them. Alright, moving on the other direction. We've got copper armor and a couple of guns. Now, I didn't want to go crazy with the guns because there's some very realistic gun mods out there. So I went with the simple muskets. There's also a flintlock pistol. The copper tools and weapons are pretty cool because as they wear down in durability, they corrode and oxidize like copper blocks do. Now, the armor doesn't do that. I assume maybe that's something that the developer is working on at some point. But they're not to that point yet. And that's not the guard. If you recall our worker here, there he is, decked out in copper with his musket that has a bayonet attached. And they have no problem using the musket as a weapon, it seems. And then they use these paper cartridges as ammunition. I won't be showing every crafting recipe because JEI is in the mod pack, and you can use JEI to find any of the crafting recipes or what colonist can craft that item. So if you come over here, we have Waystones in the mod pack, and we also have Torchmaster with the Mega Torch. If it saved the configuration from the world that I'm currently using, the core of my colony at least stays safe, whereas the dark woods around the edge sometimes has some mobs creeping in from it. So it's got a pretty good area, but it won't cover everything. You can change that in configuration if you'd like to, though. So now we're on to a more complicated part of I can't remember the word. Compatibility, that's right. And so we have simple storage network in the mod. I prefer this one because it's easier to get to earlier in the game. It doesn't take all the tech that some of the other mods take. So, as you can see, I can access all of these chests inventory from one central unit. There are showcases on this mod if you'd like to know how to work it better. So some of the things that I figured out from issues I was having in the beginning and had to do a little bit of thinking to get to this point, I will share with you. So if we go over here, we have some items to show off. I added wooden shears because your builders need a lot of shears in the beginning and you might not have a bunch of iron. So you can make some out of wood, and the mine colonists know how to use them just fine. There's traveler's boots because you spend a lot of time going from building to building, moving resources around and collecting resources, so it can help you to have a boost in mobility. So they give you a jump boost, a speed boost, and a step height boost, which is all nice. They also get pretty high in the tier. It takes a netherite ingot to make this tier. It does affect your FOV pretty wildly though, so that was an issue I had with the Traveler's Boots. There's also the upgraded netherite. This is the highest tier that you can get. There are weapons, bows, tools, shield, armor, even horse armor. And with this armor set and a couple of trinkets that are in the mod, I was able to get close to the mobility that the boots provide without the FOV change. So there's a couple options in there. And then we'll take these items out here. So I can showcase the inventory or the storage mod. So if we pick up this backpack, right, it's full of stuff. And if you wanted to put all of that stuff into the storage system, you can equip a deposit upgrade onto it, which is really nice, but it does not work with the controller. So I can right-click, access the inventory, but I cannot place the items from the backpack in there with the deposit upgrade. But if I connect a barrel or some kind of storage to the inventory with a filtered import cable, I can shift right-click all my items into the backpack here. You see, they're all in there, and if you look right there, the number is slowly going down. So all these items are slowly being filtered into these chests here. And if I click on this and put some upgrades on it, you can see that it goes quite a bit faster. So we've also got this here. If you set it to allow rather than ignore, it will not filter the items out of the chest. So just be careful you have that red, not black. So moving on, if you go over here, you'll see that it is not filling up this chest. It's probably filling up, yes, it's filling up this chest. So this is how you can connect botany pots to the storage system. So right click here, we'll throw a diamond in there. That'll start growing diamonds, as you can see. So an infinite source of diamonds. All you got to do is find enough to build or make a block, and then an extra one. And you can start growing diamonds. Same thing here, some dirt and oak sapling, and you can start growing trees and have infinite wood. The issue I ran into is when placing items in your storage, the storage will fill up the chest that you're trying to deposit your ores and other stuff into. The solution was that you can use these filtered link cables rather than just a basic link cable. And if you come over here, right, and we'll grab our DNA sampler here for the hopping mob cages. Now, if you want to know more about how to use the mob cages, there are plenty of resources on YouTube and the internet to figure out how to use these. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I've got some cages here. They have grass blocks in them rather than straw or hay, which causes them to grow the mobs faster. They've also got some speed upgrades in them. And if we throw some sheep in there, you'll see that it starts producing quite a bit of wool, right? And it's producing raw mutton too. And with this filtered link cable, if I set it to allow, and I place or set the allow list as mutton and wool, I can access this mutton and wool through my network controller. Probably won't update unless I go back into it, but as you can see, I have access to more and more every time I open the inventory. So that's working just fine, and it's not going to fill up the inventory because of the filtered link cable. Now, let's say you don't want the mutton. You know, you just want wool. So we have this set up here. I can put a couple of sheep in here. As you can see, the items are being placed in here, and they're immediately being transferred into this chest. With a hopper upgrade, I can tell it to push everything to the left of the chest. It will push everything into here, which is the block that is connected to the filtered link cable, saying that I can pull wool out of this chest. Now, because of the filtered link cable, like I said before, it won't be able to put items into it, but it will be able to pull items out, and because of this void upgrade right here, it will void all the mutton that is added into this chest, so we will only have wool. We won't have a bunch of useless items taking up our chest inventory. Now, there's mobs that produce more items, and you can set this up to get rid of more items. A heads up though, make sure you have the void upgrade set before you start putting items into it, because if there's already mutton in this, it would not void the mutton for some reason. It only voids it if the chest is already free of that item before it starts getting more in. And as you can see, if I get rid of that, mutton will start to collect in here, as you can see, yes. So now another way to achieve the same effect is we have this limited barrel here. So, you know, let's say I don't want any mutton, you know, I just want wool. As you can see, that number's going up, you know, and this barrel can only hold one item. Now, there are a couple of different limited barrels offered by the sophisticated storage system. I believe you can go up to 4 items for one barrel. So if you just fill that barrel with the 4 different kinds of items that you want it to hold before the mob starts to grow up, you won't have a bunch of waste filling your storage system. And you can use a basic link cable because it won't have to filter any items out. No other items can actually go into this chest. So, and last but not least, we have our trash can. So, before I show the trash can, one other little neat thing is if I come in here, you can see that I have bedrock in this rack. And if I come out here, you can see that I can access that bedrock. So if I pull that out and put it in my inventory and then come back into here, there is no bedrock in here anymore. Because when you connect your storage system to the MineColonies warehouse, you have access to the warehouse through the storage system. As you can see, I put it back in, and now it's back in the system. In order to connect it, you will have to run a network cable all the way to your warehouse into this storage inventory for colonist, which isn't too hard to craft, and then you'll run it through that over to a link cable that's connected to the warehouse block itself. Now you can run this underground to make it look a little better. This block can be inside, it can be in the wall. I think it could even be outside as long as it's close enough to the warehouse itself. So once you get all that ran, if it doesn't automatically connect, you can go into this here in network storage and hit refresh, and it will connect. Something to look out for: every time you upgrade your warehouse, the builder will destroy these lines and you'll have to place them back down. So just keep an eye out for that, so that way your couriers don't come to a dead stop. Now, to show off this trash can here, if you look in here, if I set this to blacklist, right, and we go here, it's set to filter through only bedrock. Right? So bedrock will be fed into the trash can. So let's say the colonists are producing a lot of bedrock and I just can't use it for anything, so I want it out of here. So I'm going to set it to filter through bedrock. It's an export cable, so it's going to pull everything out of the system through this into my trash can. As long as I have this set to the blacklist. Right? If I have it set to whitelist, it will only pull the items out of the storage system that are in here. And I think they also have to be in the export cable too. We'll set that back, and if we go back in here, you'll see that there's no longer bedrock in here. So I can put all this in here, and it is slowly pulling it out. Now you can use the stack upgrades again to increase the amount that it pulls in every so many ticks that it activates. And there's also a speed upgrade, but the speed upgrade can cause a little bit more lag, but it achieves the same thing. I think the stack upgrade actually works a little faster though. So now we're going to move on. That is how to connect your storage system and automatic farms straight to your mine colonies. I don't know if I said this, but anything in here, the colonist can interact with this block and pull it out of that storage system. And same as you can reach in here and pull anything out of the warehouse. So now, if I head over here, I've added a couple of ways to change up enchanting, because as you get into the late game, a lot of different colonists are going to need a lot of different enchanted tools. So pull out some stuff here. And this I haven't even used in my survival world. But the way it works is you have, some enchanted books, right? Unbreaking 2, Unbreaking. We throw them in here, and you can see that it's stripped the enchantment off of the books and given me back some regular books. Then if I go in here, the enchantments are now inside of this table here. And this is the interface we use to add those enchantments. So if I put the hoe in there, I can add Unbreaking 2. Now let's say I want Unbreaking 3. I cannot add Unbreaking 1 to get to 3. You have to do it just like vanilla you would in the anvil and add another Unbreaking 2 on there, and it will give you your Unbreaking 3 diamond hoe. So this setup takes a good amount of XP. I think it costs the same amount as using an anvil in this interface here. And then this, the rest of the system's free, but actually adding the enchantment onto it costs some XP. And you can also take a tool that is enchanted and throw it in here, and it will strip the enchantments off and put the enchantment back into your system. Now this is the system that I have used. The enchanting infuser. I can go here and throw my hoe in, and I have access to every single enchantment that this hoe can get out of the mod pack. There are a few that are specific to structures, like not Death Strider, the one that gives you extra speed when sneaking that you can find in the Deep Dark. That one you will not find in this menu. But as long as you have enough bookshelves to get this to level 15, you can pull any enchantment on here. And as you can see, it costs some XP. This table cost more XP than its upgraded counterpart, the Advanced Enchanting Infuser, which is the one that I'm using currently in my survival world. Now, moving on, I'll throw this in here. The next part's going to be dark, so I'm going to grab this lantern and this netherite drill that I've made. If I go here into my curio slots and scroll down to the belt slot and equip the lantern, because of the dynamic lights mod that is I now am a light source myself because of the lantern that's on my belt. If I switch back to survival here, I can mine. As you obviously the stone turns into cobblestone, but the andesite turns into cobblestone, the diorite turns into cobblestone, and so does the granite. Now there are crafting recipes for this in vanilla. Diorite, nether quartz makes granite. Stone and nether quartz makes diorite, and stone and diorite makes andesite. So you can still acquire the blocks. The reason I've added this particular mod is because sometimes you spawn in a world and directly below where you spawn or where you're trying to mine, instead of diorite, granite, and andesite spawning in little chunks all over the world, they are their own biomes now. So if you want to find stone, which you're probably going to need stone for whatever civilization you decide to build, you're going to have to find a stone biome, a stone caves biome. So to make things easier, all of those automatically turn into cobblestone, so you don't have such an issue finding the stone that you need. Now you still will need the 3 special stones for crafting in mine colonies and buildings, so it's still obtainable, but it's just not mineable like it normally is. You can use Silk Touch to acquire it, but it is the no andesite, diorite, or granite mod that is doing that. So you can go into the mods list and disable that at any time if you decide you need to. There's also, if you go down here all the way to deep slate, you make it that deep in the world, you can mine up deep slate, and it's dropping all kinds of different stuff. Oh, broke a little too far. You can see that netherrack is doing the exact same thing. Got some gold nuggets, some quartz. We'll go ahead and mine that up. Broke a little faster than I thought it would. If we go into my inventory here, you can see that we have iron, copper, lapis, coal, gold, diamond, nether quartz, emerald, redstone, and netherite nuggets. Now, a 9x9 crafting grid full will turn the nugget into a block, just like it always has. But it just makes finding ores a little bit easier, less grindy, so that way you can focus on getting your colonist upgraded to where you need them to be. If you find that to be a little cheatsy, that's fine. Keep in mind that you also still get some of the blocks, but a lot of the blocks get converted into different nuggets and stuff like that. So if we come up here, oh, that's right. The mod doing that is the more nuggets mod. If you turn that off, it should turn off its deep slate treasure, netherrack treasure counterparts, which are causing those drops. If you find it to be a little too easy in the game, that's understandable. I just didn't want to spend as much time and rely on RNG to find all the ores I need. I just wanted to be able to dig up and get them. In the mod pack, it should be disabled, but it might not be. There's also dirt treasures. Now, dirt treasures causes, when you break dirt, you find random stuff. You'll find seeds, saplings, all kinds of stuff. It can make finding that tree that's halfway across the world a little bit easier to find. The reason I added that is because when you travel really far in Minecraft, it can fill up your VRAM, which can start causing a lot of lag in your game. So if you can find the items without having to travel too far, it can save you a lot of lag. That's also why the mob cages are in the game, because if I have a bunch of farms sitting around my colony that are just loaded with sheep, chicken, cows, pigs, I'm going to have an issue because there's way too much for my computer to load in at once. So I've added some certain simple things to reduce lag in your world and to save yourself some headache. There's also the advanced mining dimension. If you craft this, now, oh, it worked. Oops. It didn't work when I tried to use it earlier. So, as you can see, I got transported to a cave dimension where I can mine to my heart's content without having to worry about destroying my world. You craft that by any log in the four corners, any wood, plank, in the other slots, and then a stone pickaxe in the middle will make you this guy right here. Now, another issue I've run into in the world, oh, forgot about this. So, if you take wheat seeds and craft it with any flour, you can get any kind of flour's seed. Alright. You can also, this is kind of a side note, craft a bee in a bottle just by catching a bee in a bottle. There you go, bee in a bottle. Bottle of bee. Just make it easier to get the bees to your orchardist. So now, there's also... Oh, it's not working. Well, that was a fail. You're supposed to be able to right-click stuff and harvest it. That doesn't seem to be happening right now. But if I go over here, pop this guy in here, harvesting. Let's see if that fixes it. It did. Okay. So we can harvest up all these flowers. As you can see, it is dropping seeds and flowers, so you really only need to find one flower and you can reproduce them from there. This will help you get your dyes and your flowers that you need for some of the buildings in mine colonies. There's also this guy. I didn't spawn him in. I just made this farm, and when I came back to check on it while I was doing the overview for this showcase I'm doing, he'd spawned in. So this guy in particular, if you go up to him with any kind of raw fish, it can't be a cooked fish, right-click him, he will give you a casket. And then if you right click with the casket, it gives you some experience and random items like clay blocks, glow sack ink. There's also a version of this guy you can find in the ocean that takes nautilus shells and gives you some better stuff. Through these guys you can make some cool armor that works kind of like netherite, but it's water themed. So over here we can check out some of the trinkets that are in the mod. We have nameless trinkets, all kinds of cool stuff coming from him. We have relics. So the special thing about relics is it doesn't tell you what it does. So when you find it, it's the infinity ham. You can assume what it might be, but you just don't know for sure until you put it on the relics table. There's also reliquary. It adds some cool stuff like the Emperor's Chalice and Infinite Water Bucket, but there's also the Charm Belt, which you can put charms on, and it gives you some immunity from mobs. I think they just won't mess with you as long as you have a charm. Now this is the relics table. We can throw our ham on there and then crouch and see what it does. So for any relics, that's how you use them. We also have some compasses. So everybody knows how the normal compass works. It just points towards world spawn. As you can see, the other guys are doing that too. But if you go to the nature's compass, you can find any single biome. So if you're having a hard time finding that wood type or item that you need, you can search all the biomes in here to figure out what it is or where it's at. And there's also the explorer's compass, which you can use to find any structure. So if you're looking for the stronghold, you can find it with this compass. There's also, I've used it to find nether buildings, things like that. Now we've got tool belts, the tool pouch, some hole fillers, which we'll get to here in a second. So with the tool belt, you can put it in your curios belt slot, but there is a special menu. You'll have to keybind it. It looks like this. It's got a belt slot on it. It's not your regular, this is your regular menu. This is the special tool belt menu. Now, with a keybind button, I can bring up this, right? So if I'm holding a weapon or an item or a tool, I can put it in here. I can put another one in here, and we're all full. So if I take my tool belt out, it's still holding those weapons, or the tools, by the way. I can come here and attach a pouch to it. I can put it back on, and now I've got more room for more stuff. Now I think you can hold almost 9 or 10 items on there, so it's pretty nice. And you can also swap items. But it only works on tools. It does not work for this. I'm hitting the keybind. It's not bringing it up right now. So an empty slot or a tool, you can do that. So I've had an issue with creepers just blowing up randomly all over my world because I don't think the guards are recognizing them as enemies, but the creepers are recognizing the guards as enemies. So it's not working out. But throw that in there, and bam, it's full. I just run around my colony every now and then and spam these. So if you hit it before it cures, it goes away, but it can come right back. Give it a second, it'll turn straight into dirt. So real quick, I'm going to go into my world and just kind of show you what I've done, how I've set up my storage system. So here we are as my world loads in. It's a little laggy, but it's getting together. You can see I've got full, top tier. This is the end gamest armor you can get. I've also got the shield and the tools. Here's my tool belt. It's got all kinds of slots in it. If I run over here, this is kind of the little hidey hole I built right in the beginning. Here's some poppies I got growing. If I go over here, there is my little hole here. This I can access my inventory. It's got a little crafting grid because I've got the upgraded one. All kinds of stuff in here. I used this thing here, which is a big tool in MineColonies for crafting special blocks to make this door. And if we come back here, this is my storage system. As you can see, I've got all kinds of different creatures making all kinds of different materials for me. Using all the tricks that I showed you in the storage compartment to make sure that these blocks don't get full of random crap that I don't want in the storage system. So now, if I go this way, Now, oh, and here's my chest that I right-click my backpack into to empty it. Now, directly below here, there's a line or a cable that runs that direction straight. And if I come out here, I can show you where my storage system connects with my warehouse. So no cables on the outside. This is the warehouse. If I go inside, it comes up through the ground and connects to this guy right here. And then I could have run the cable under the ground if I wanted to, but I just ran it straight across and connected it into the warehouse. And that's how I set up my system. Of course, you can do yours any way you want. And then I've also got a field over here with poppies growing in it, so that way the farmer from the farmhouse I just built and am now upgrading can start harvesting flowers for my colony, so I don't have to do that manual farm that I had back there earlier. I think that pretty much covers everything. As you can see, I've been playing and testing this world quite a bit. I had to fix a crash issue that was happening randomly. It ended up being the Canary mod, which is a optimization mod to help the game run a little smoother. And it did run smoother, but it ran too fast apparently and was causing crashes. I was hoping to show you a way that you can use the hole filler, but there just aren't any creeper explosions. I do a pretty good job of staying on top of it. You can also fill a house with dirt if you'd like to, but I wouldn't recommend it. And with that, I will leave you be so you can start your own adventure in MineColonies and Then Some. Thank you for staying tuned.